Alex Eala just sent shockwaves through the WTA world, and the internet hasn't stopped buzzing ever since. What began as celebration quickly turned into chaos. A so-called billion-dollar scandal exploded online, dragging billionaires, celebrities, brands, and millions of fans into a storm no one saw coming. And suddenly, the most talked-about name in women's tennis wasn't trending because of what she was doing on the court, but because of what was being said about her off it. But here's the truth. The real story is far more dramatic than the lie. Because when the smoke cleared, what remained wasn't just a scandal. It was a warning. A mirror held up to the age of viral fame. A glimpse into the dark machinery of social media, the part that feeds on the meteoric rise of an icon. And if you think you already know this story, you don't. To understand how a fabricated $1.6 billion headline could shake the internet to its core, you first have to understand who Alex Eala really is and what she represents to an entire nation. Born on May 23, 2005, in Quezon City, Philippines, Alexandra Maniego Eala is not just another rising tennis star. She is a phenomenon. By 20 years old, she had already rewritten history books. She became the first Filipino to win a Grand Slam junior singles title, capturing the girls' singles crown at the 2022 U.S. Open as the tennis world watched in stunned silence. She became the first Filipino to break into the WTA Top 100. The first to defeat multiple top 5 players at tour-level events. The first to reach a WTA 1000 semifinal. And in 2026, she climbed to a career-high ranking of world number 31, the highest ever for a Filipino tennis player. But numbers alone don't explain Alex Eala. What separates her isn't just titles or rankings. It's people. Wherever she plays, Abu Dhabi, Miami, Dubai, Guadalajara, stadiums fill. Not because marketing campaigns push her name. Not because she is guaranteed center court. They fill because Filipinos show up. They travel across continents. They wake up at 1 a.m. to stream matches. They buy tickets in cities they've never visited. They cheer in voices shaking with pride. One fan summed it up online. Alex Eala is the most famous player in tennis right now. Not IGA. Not Coco. Alex. She stunned Coco Gauff at the Miami Open. She defeated Madison Keys. She forced the tennis world to start saying Philippines in conversations where it had never been mentioned before. And when her emotional run in Dubai ended after victories over Jasmine Paolini and Sabalenka before falling to Gauff, she didn't complain.
She didn't deflect.
She posted, 3 weeks of fighting with love and pride has come to an end. Then she quoted a fellow WTA player. It's a privilege to play in front of people who see themselves in you. That's who she is. Young, historic, grounded, graceful, and because of all that, vulnerable. Because rising too fast and shining too brightly in the age of social media doesn't just attract fans. It attracts predators. And what came for Alex Eala in early 2026 was nothing short of a digital ambush. Imagine waking up and seeing your name attached to one of the most outrageous financial headlines in sports history. Not $10 million. Not $50 million. $1.
$6 billion.
That's exactly what happened when viral Facebook posts began claiming that Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan, billionaire owner of Manchester City, had personally offered Eala a $1 billion upfront payment and $600 million per year for 10 years to relocate to Abu Dhabi and become the queen of a brand new Abu Dhabi Diamond Tennis Championship. The story was cinematic, unreal, emotional. It spread like wildfire. Thousands of shares. Tens of thousands of reactions. Comment sections flooded with pride and tears. Fans believed they were witnessing history again, their national hero receiving recognition on a scale almost unimaginable in professional sport. There was just one problem. None of it was real. There was no contract. No meeting. No official announcement. No WTA statement. No confirmation from legitimate media outlets. It was pure fiction. Fact-checkers investigated. There was no evidence of any offer. No event. No confirmation from Eala's camp or Sheikh Mansour's representatives. The entire narrative had been manufactured, built from a stock photo, a famous name, and a number large enough to overwhelm logic. And it wasn't an isolated incident. Around the same time, a viral post claimed she signed a $45 million deal with Wilson. False. Another said Emirates Airlines had secured her as a global ambassador. Fake. Someone fabricated a story that she donated millions to homeless families in Quezon City after winning Eastbourne. Untrue. AI-generated images showed her hugging a supposed cancer patient named Marco, who sold his motorcycle to watch her play. The man didn't exist. In one image, she was signing a tennis ball with her right hand. Alex Eala is left-handed. The machine didn't know that. For months, the algorithm had been quietly manufacturing mythology, creating emotional, perfectly engineered viral bait, until it finally produced its most explosive creation yet, a billion-dollar scandal tied to a 20-year-old athlete whose only real focus was playing tennis and making her country proud. So how did it get this far? And who, exactly, benefits from turning a national icon into a viral fantasy? That's where the story becomes even darker. This wasn't random. This wasn't some bored teenager posting a prank for attention. What had been circling Alex Eala for months was far more organized, far more calculated, and far more profitable than most people realized. Investigations by Rappler and other media watchdogs uncovered something disturbing: a coordinated content network operating through tennis-themed Facebook pages with polished names like Tennis Mood and Flow Tennis. On the surface, they looked like passionate fan hubs. In reality, they were engagement machines. And Alex Eala was their most valuable asset. The formula was precise. First, build a large following of genuine tennis fans, especially Filipinos hungry for updates about their rising superstar. Then, flood their feeds with emotionally engineered stories, heartwarming charity acts, outrage-driven feuds with celebrities, fantasy-level sponsorship announcements, billion-dollar contract offers. The posts exploded with reactions. Thousands of likes, hundreds of comments, massive shares. Then came the monetization. Every click funneled users toward external websites packed with display ads. The more traffic, the more revenue. Article by article, click by click, the numbers added up, thousands of pesos per viral story, potentially millions over time. These pages understood something deeply cynical about the internet in 2026. People don't verify stories that make them feel powerful emotions.
Pride. Joy.
Outrage. The fake $1.6 billion contract triggered the purest form of pride imaginable. The idea that a young woman from Quezon City had become so globally significant that one of the richest men on earth would spend more than some nations earn in a year just to associate with her. It was designed to be believed. And it worked. But the collateral damage was real. Respected public figures were dragged into the chaos without consent. Veteran GMA network anchor Mel Tienko had to go on national television to deny a fabricated quote claiming she had called Eala despicable and selfish. It never happened. She stated calmly on air, "I want to be clear that those posts are
fake.
I have never said anything negative about Alex. I cheer for her and pray for her." Television host Luis Manzano was also falsely accused of launching a tirade against Eala. He publicly called out the page responsible and urged followers to report it. Even Rappler founder Maria Ressa was previously misquoted in fake attacks against the tennis star. Journalists, celebrities, broadcasters, all weaponized as props inside a content ecosystem profiting off one young athlete's name. The scandal consumed everyone around her. And then came the question the internet was waiting for. What would Alex Eala say? When a lie of that magnitude spreads, social media doesn't react calmly. It fractures. Within hours of the Sheikh Mansour story going viral, Twitter and Facebook split into furious camps. On one side were devastated fans, people who had believed the story and felt betrayed when it collapsed. Their anger turned outward. These pages are using Eala for profit. They don't care about her or us. They're turning our love into clicks. On the other side were those who argued the misinformation exposed a deeper issue, that maybe, even if $1 billion was fake, it reflected how Filipinos truly valued her. They questioned why her real achievements hadn't translated into the same global endorsements some Western players receive. The debate evolved into something bigger. Was the WTA undervaluing her commercial appeal? Were global brands overlooking Asian athletes? Why hadn't her wins over Iga Swiatek and Madison Keys, her WTA 1000 semifinal run, and her career-high ranking resulted in headline sponsorships? At the same time, the WTA was facing separate criticism. In Dubai, tournament organizers scheduled her quarterfinal against Coco Gauff as the opening night session match, not the marquee closer. To casual fans, that seemed minor. But to those who understood her reach, it mattered. Filipino fans back home would have had to stay awake past 1 a.m. to watch. And for arguably the most electrifying draw on tour at that moment, the scheduling felt like a miscalculation. Tennis publications noted that if the WTA wanted to capitalize on Eala's growing popularity, it could not afford repeated missteps. Years of frustration, pride, and legitimate grievances poured into the conversation, all triggered by a lie. And through all of it, Alex finally spoke. It would have been easy to lash out, to issue a fiery statement, to clap back at the content farms using her name. Instead, after a quarterfinal loss to Camila Osorio at the Philippine Women's Open, a defeat that left the Manila crowd heartbroken, she walked straight to a practice court with her coach Joan Bosch and went back to work. No dramatic press conference. No emotional social media rant. Just practice. When she addressed the fake stories, her words were calm, almost devastatingly simple. That's not really under my control. I don't have power over what other people post. I am aware there have been a lot of fake news articles. It is concerning because they get a lot of likes, and it's difficult to understand sometimes when you see it online. Then she added, I guess my take would be to tell them to just try to find reliable sources of news and listen to dependable outlets. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. 5 quiet words. But behind them was the weight of someone watching a parallel version of herself being constructed online, a version signing billion-dollar contracts, insulting journalists, donating imaginary millions. While the real version kept training. She also spoke about responsibility. I do my best because I know that on the international stage, I represent quite a big demographic. It's such an honor to have this support and this community rally behind me. Here was a 20-year-old, world number 31, the highest-ranked Filipino in tennis history, carrying the hopes of over 100 million people with composure that made the misinformation machine look small. The real numbers tell their own story. As of early 2026, her career prize money stood around $1.49 million. Impressive for her age and trajectory, even if it didn't carry 12 zeros. Her genuine sponsors, Globe Telecom, Babolat, Nike, Bank of the Philippine Islands, and locally Juice, were authentic partnerships built on performance and trust, not viral fantasy. And her achievements? Beating Iga Swiatek, reaching a WTA 1000 semifinal as a wild card, winning the Guadalajara 125, making her Grand Slam main draw debuts, becoming the first Filipino in the Open era to win a Grand Slam match, climbing to a career-high ranking of number 31. No fabrication was needed, because the truth was already extraordinary. Is this conversation helpful so far? These were the billions that actually mattered. Not dollars moments. Not contracts history. Which brings us to the question that lingers long after the viral posts disappear. What does all of this mean for her, for tennis, and for the world that keeps trying to define her? There is a rare kind of fame reserved for athletes who become symbols before they have fully finished becoming players. Muhammad Ali carried it. Serena Williams carried it. Naomi Osaka carries it. And now, in 2026, so does Alex Eala. The weight of being more than a tennis player. More than rankings. More than prize money. She is not just competing, she is reflecting something back to an entire nation. Possibility. Arrival. Belonging. The billion-dollar scandal and the flood of misinformation weren't accidents. They were symptoms. Symptoms of a social media ecosystem that monetizes emotion over truth. Symptoms of a sports industry still scrambling to protect young stars from digital exploitation. And symptoms of something deeply human, our tendency to turn the people we love into legends before they've even had the chance to simply be great on their own terms. Because here is what the noise threatens to drown out. Alex Eala is already great. She doesn't need a $1.6 billion contract to justify her value. She doesn't need AI-generated charity myths. She doesn't need fabricated meetings with billionaires. She beat the world number 2. She reached a WTA 1000 semifinal as a wild card. She carried the Philippines into tennis conversations that had never included it before. She walked into stadiums across 3 continents and filled them with fans who flew thousands of miles just to hear her name announced. That is real. And then there was Dubai. Dubai Tennis Championships scheduling controversy 4 when her quarterfinal against Coco Gauff opened the night session instead of closing it. Many fans saw more than a scheduling choice. For Filipino viewers back home, it meant staying awake past 1 a.m. For one of the fastest rising draws in women's tennis, it felt like the institution lagging behind the moment. Not malicious, not deliberate, but structural. And structural issues matter, because her rise is not slowing. At just 20 years old and ranked world number 31, she is ascending faster than even optimistic projections predicted. After her loss to Gauff in Dubai, she didn't hide. Obviously, the gap was pretty prominent, she admitted with clarity. That's not to say I'm so far out of reach. There was no denial in her voice. No dramatics. Just assessment. Then she posted about the privilege of playing in front of people who see themselves in you. And just like that, the story returned to where it always returns with her. Love.
Pride. Purpose.
The fake billion-dollar contract burned bright and vanished in days. But what Alex Eala is building, match by match, ranking point by ranking point, is not going anywhere. The scandal didn't shock the WTA world. It revealed something it already sensed but hadn't fully confronted. She doesn't need manufactured mythology. She is the story. Every time she walks onto a court, she is the story. The internet, chaotic, creative, sometimes cruel, accidentally confirmed it. You don't fabricate legends around athletes who don't matter. So, here's the question worth leaving behind. In a world where fake billion-dollar contracts travel faster than real Grand Slam victories, what does that say about how we value athletes? Is the system built to protect rising stars like Alex Eala? Or is it built to profit from them? She didn't sign a billion-dollar deal. She signed something far more binding with every match she has ever played. A promise that someone from the Philippines can step onto the world's biggest courts and not just compete, but belong. The fake news came. The internet exploded. And when the dust settled, she was exactly where she always is, on the court. Working. Rising.
Real.
That is the story no one needs to invent. If this journey moved you, if you believe her real story deserves to be told without distortion, stay with us. We cover the truth behind the headlines, the tension behind the rankings, and the moments the viral posts miss. New stories every week. And with Alex Eala, the biggest chapters may only be beginning.